3 in the morning. Your eyes open. Not gradually, not gently. Suddenly, completely. As if someone has flipped a switch inside your skull. The room is dark. The house is silent. And your mind, which should be deep in restorative sleep, is now fully, mercilessly awake. You lie there. You try to fall back asleep. But something has shifted. Your thoughts begin their familiar spiral. The appointment you cannot forget, the conversation that still bothers you, the vague sense that something is wrong, even though you cannot name what. An hour passes, sometimes 2. Eventually, exhaustion pulls you under again, but the damage is done. When your alarm sounds at 7, you feel worse than if you had never slept at all. This is not random. This is not bad luck. And despite what you may have been told, this is not simply what happens when you get older. Waking at 3 in the morning, consistently, predictably, night after night, is your body sending a distress signal. And if you ignore it long enough, the consequences extend far beyond tiredness. There is a dark truth about this pattern that most doctors will not explain to you, either because they do not have time or because they themselves do not fully understand it. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why your body is waking you at this hour, what it reveals about your physical and emotional health, and precisely what to do to reclaim uninterrupted sleep. Most people our age have accepted this as their new normal. Since you are watching this, I suspect you are unwilling to surrender so easily. Let me tell you what is actually happening inside your body at 3 in the morning. Your sleep follows a predictable architecture. You cycle through stages: light sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, approximately every 90 minutes. In the first half of the night, your cycles are dominated by deep sleep, the physically restorative phase. In the second half, REM sleep takes precedence, handling memory, consolidation, and emotional processing. 3 in the morning sits at a critical transition point. Your body has completed most of its deep sleep. It is preparing to shift into REM-dominant cycles, and this transition is remarkably fragile. Any physiological disturbance during this window, a blood sugar fluctuation, a cortisol surge, a breathing irregularity, can pull you into full wakefulness. Your brain, which should smoothly transition between sleep stages, instead interprets the disturbance as a reason to wake. Once awake, the cruel irony begins. The anxiety of being awake triggers more cortisol release. More cortisol makes returning to sleep even harder. You enter a feedback loop that can trap you for hours. This is the mechanism. But the mechanism does not explain the cause. There are 5 primary reasons seniors wake at 3 in the morning. Most people have at least 2 operating simultaneously. Understanding which ones apply to you is the first step toward solving the problem. The first cause is blood sugar instability. When you sleep, your body still requires glucose to fuel essential functions. If your blood sugar drops too low during the night, a state called nocturnal hypoglycemia, your body responds by releasing cortisol and adrenaline to mobilize stored glucose. These stress hormones do their job. Your blood sugar stabilizes. But you are now wide awake, heart racing slightly, mind alert, wondering why you feel anxious in a dark, quiet room. This is particularly common among seniors who eat dinner early and consume few carbohydrates with their evening meal. The gap between your last meal and 3 in the morning can exceed 9 hours. For some bodies, this is too long. The solution is not to eat more at dinner. It is to eat strategically. A small snack before bed, something combining protein and complex carbohydrates, can stabilize blood sugar through the night. A tablespoon of almond butter, a small handful of nuts with a few whole grain crackers, half a banana with a slice of cheese. These combinations digest slowly, providing steady glucose release rather than the spike and crash of simple sugars. I implemented this 6 months ago after years of 3 o'clock awakenings. The change was not immediate. It took approximately 2 weeks, but it was profound. My body stopped sounding the alarm because the emergency it was responding to no longer occurred. The second cause is cortisol rhythm dysfunction. In a healthy body, cortisol follows a predictable daily pattern. It peaks in the early morning, helping you wake, then gradually declines through the day, reaching its lowest point around midnight. This low cortisol state is essential for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Chronic stress disrupts this rhythm. If you have spent months or years in a state of persistent worry about health, finances, family, or the general state of the world, your cortisol rhythm can become dysregulated. Instead of staying low through the night, cortisol begins rising prematurely, often around 3 in the morning. Your body interprets this rise as a signal to wake. After all, rising cortisol has meant mourning your entire life. Your brain does not understand that the signal is arriving 4 hours too early. Fixing this requires addressing the stress itself, not merely the symptom of waking. But there are immediate interventions that help. Magnesium glycinate taken before bed helps regulate cortisol and promotes muscle relaxation. The glycinate form is critical. Other forms of magnesium do not cross the blood-brain barrier as effectively and can cause digestive disturbance. Ashwagandha, an adaptogenic herb with substantial clinical research behind it, has been shown to normalize cortisol patterns over time. It is not a sleeping pill. It is a stress modulator that helps your body remember its natural rhythms. And the practice I have found most effective: writing down your worries before bed. Not journaling in the reflective sense, specifically listing the concerns your mind is likely to revisit at 3 in the morning. This act of externalization gives your brain permission to release its grip. The worries are recorded. They will not be forgotten. Your mind can stand down. The third cause is one that carries more weight than most people realize: unprocessed grief and suppressed emotion. 3 in the morning is when your psychological defenses are weakest. The distractions of the day are gone. The tasks that keep your mind occupied have ended, and the emotions you have been outrunning finally catch up. For seniors, this often manifests as grief, not necessarily fresh grief, sometimes grief that was never fully processed years or decades ago. The loss of a spouse, the death of a friend, the quiet mourning for the life you thought you would have versus the life you actually lived. During the day, you function, you manage, you cope. But at 3 in the morning, coping mechanisms fail, and the weight of what you carry makes itself known. This is not weakness. This is your psyche demanding attention it has been denied. The solution here is not a supplement or a snack. It is acknowledgement. It is allowing yourself to feel what you have been postponing. Sometimes this means therapy. Sometimes it means honest conversations with trusted friends or family. Sometimes it means sitting with the grief deliberately during waking hours so it does not ambush you in sleeping ones. I speak from experience. After my husband passed, I woke at 3 in the morning for nearly 2 years. I tried every physical intervention: the magnesium, the blood sugar management, the sleep hygiene protocols. Nothing worked, because the cause was not physical. What finally helped was a grief support group, speaking my loss aloud, letting others witness it. The 3 o'clock awakenings did not stop immediately, but they softened. They became less frequent. My body learned that the grief had a place to go, and that place did not have to be the middle of the night. The fourth cause is sleep apnea, and I mention it because it is catastrophically underdiagnosed in seniors, particularly women. Sleep apnea causes repeated breathing interruptions throughout the night. Each interruption triggers a micro-awakening, often too brief to remember, but enough to fragment your sleep architecture. For many people, the cumulative effect surfaces as full wakefulness around 3 or 4 in the morning, after hours of undetected disruption have degraded sleep quality beyond recovery. The stereotype of sleep apnea is an overweight man who snores thunderously. This stereotype causes countless thin, quiet sleeping women to go undiagnosed for years. Sleep apnea in older adults often presents subtly: mild snoring, morning headaches, difficulty concentrating, and yes, waking in the early morning hours unable to return to sleep. If you wake consistently at 3 in the morning and feel unrefreshed, no matter how much time you spend in bed, request a sleep study. Not a home screening device, a proper polysomnography. The results may reveal a treatable condition that has been silently undermining your health for years. The fifth cause is environmental, and it is the easiest to fix, yet frequently overlooked. Your bedroom may be sabotaging you. After several hours of sleep, your body temperature naturally drops to its lowest point of the night, typically between 3 and 4 in the morning. If your bedroom is too warm, this temperature drop triggers discomfort that pulls you awake. If your bedroom is too cold, the same mechanism operates in reverse. Your body activates to generate warmth, and activation means wakefulness. The ideal sleeping temperature for most adults is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Many seniors keep their homes warmer than this, particularly in winter, and then wonder why their sleep deteriorates. Light is equally important. Even small amounts of light, the glow of a charging phone, the standby indicator on a television, the street light filtering through curtains, can suppress melatonin production and make the transition between sleep cycles more fragile. I now sleep in a room that is cold enough to require a heavy blanket and dark enough that I cannot see my hand in front of my face. The difference was noticeable within days. Let me tell you what happens if you ignore this pattern. Chronic sleep fragmentation does not merely make you tired, it accelerates cognitive decline. Research has repeatedly demonstrated that interrupted sleep impairs the brain's glymphatic system, the mechanism that clears metabolic waste, including the proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease, during deep sleep. Every night you wake at 3 in the morning and spend an hour or more in anxious wakefulness, you are not getting the deep sleep required for this cleaning process. The waste accumulates. Over years, this accumulation contributes to cognitive impairment. Fragmented sleep also dysregulates appetite hormones, promotes insulin resistance, weakens immune function, and increases systemic inflammation. The 3 o'clock awakening is not merely an inconvenience. It is a slow degradation of every system in your body. This is the dark truth. Not that waking at 3 in the morning is unpleasant. You already know that. But that tolerating it year after year carries consequences far more serious than daytime fatigue. So here is what I want you to do. Tonight, implement the blood sugar stabilization protocol, a small protein and carbohydrate snack before bed. This week, evaluate your sleep environment, temperature, darkness, and noise. Make the adjustments required. This month, honestly assess your stress and grief. Are you carrying emotional weight that surfaces when your defenses drop? Consider whether you need support in processing what you have been postponing. And if the problem persists despite these interventions, request a sleep study. Rule out the physiological causes that require medical treatment. Do not accept this as normal. Do not let anyone tell you that broken sleep is simply part of being 70 or 75 or 80. It is common. It is not inevitable. And you deserve better than to spend your nights in anxious wakefulness, watching the hours pass, dreading the exhaustion that tomorrow will bring. If you are part of the small percentage who refuses to accept deterioration as destiny, who believes that understanding a problem is the first step towards solving it, then you belong in this community. Share this with someone who wakes in the dark hours and feels alone in their struggle. They are not alone, and there are answers. Return here. We have more to discuss about the truths that conventional wisdom obscures and the solutions that actually work. Until next time, stay vital.